and welcome to the Totally Schway podcast, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell I want it to be about. My name is Mary.
My name's Luke. Something just occurred to me, Mary. Do we ever say what DCAU means for people that aren't really invested in this?
It's one of those if you know, you know. If you don't, just keep listening.
It is in the thumbnail.
It's the DC animated universe.
Good, you passed the pop quiz.
Yeah. I was cheating.
Yeah, she was looking at the thumbnails going, what does that say?
Yeah, the podcast logo is actually my my wallpaper, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
On my computer, so I was cheating. I wasn't actually looking at that.
She knows what it is.
I was looking at Heart of Ice, the Heart of Ice print that Luke has. So, how are you today?
I'm okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to think about it for a second. Yeah, didn't ask, did I?
I'm great, by the way. I just wanted to say I'm an American living in the UK, and I got my my new ballot card, which I didn't know I was gonna get. Stoked about that. So guys, go register to vote. I'm not gonna get political, but you know who I'm gonna vote for. Obviously, Lex Luthor. But
he wishes he was Lex Luthor. He's more like the Bizarro
no, I
copy
wasn't even
of Lex
talking
Luthor.
about him. I was just talking about the animated Lex Luthor. I'm gonna put Clancy Brown's name in the list.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No, obviously, we're joking, but
I'm not joking about him being the Bizarro version of Lex Luthor.
Oh God, yeah. But I just want you guys to go out and vote. Honestly, I don't get political. I'm not getting political, but I just want you guys to, if you live in the U.S., even if you live anywhere here in the UK, go get registered to vote. It's always good to have a choice. And on that note, do we have any news?
Yeah, just a quick item. So I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last podcast. I think I did, but just in case I didn't.
Ooh. I think you did, but yeah.
Yeah, I have vague recollections of talking about this, but I can't remember if that was on a recording or if I was just talking to someone.
Let's just tell them what it is.
Oh, what, and ruin the tension of building the drama? Unbelievable. Yeah, all right, fine. So the second volume of the Batman Beyond soundtrack is out now. It is available to stream for free on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify, Amazon Music, I assume on Apple and Google Music as well.
Don't know, don't have them.
Yeah, and I just bought it on Amazon because it's only $7.99 and it helps them out. And if things continue to do well for them, then they will continue to release more of their soundtracks. And I was speaking to Christopher Carter recently and said to him...
Name drop.
I know, I said, please give us the TNBA soundtrack and the rest of Superman, please! Literally like that. And he said he would see what he could do. So that was nice.
You were telling me earlier that you have a print that you've had for 10 years from Simon Beasley.
No,
Bisley?
it's from Brian Bolland.
Brian Bolland, whatever. I was literally looking at Simon Beasley stuff. That's why I got their names mixed up. Because it's all, like when somebody sends you something.
No one ever sends me stuff. I always order stuff.
Well, on my Explorer thing, my Safari thing, you sent me something about us going to Forbidden Planet that one time, and now Simon Bisley stuff just pops up everywhere.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so I'm really happy about that.
I fed your algorithm.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that, but now every time I see an art print, even though I know who it is, I'm like, Simon Bisley.
You went to the Sistine Chapel and went, Simon Bisley did that.
Anyways, long story short, I was going to tell Luke that I've been a Spotify member for nearly 15 years, so I don't know Apple. I don't know her. Let's get to today's episode.
I thought you had a little piece of music you wanted to talk to relating to Spotify.
Yes, that's where I was going with this. I was like, I know I'm doing something here. So, I know it's not DCAU related, but it kind of is because it deals with Harley Quinn. So, Lady Gaga, one of our Lord and Saviors, in music and movies, has come out with a Harley Quinn album. And I have to say, I went in thinking, oh, this is going to be good. It's going to be all right. It's going to be, something. I'm not going to love everything. But I tell you what, guys, I'm obviously not sponsored, But I have to tell you, it reminds me of the music that just took over my life when I listened to Billie Holiday or Frank Sinatra or like Lena Horne for the first time. It is beautiful. And I was at work yesterday and I listened to it while I was there, and I loved it. I really did. And I wasn't a big, I was a Gaga fan. I have been since Paparazzi. But I have to say, I am Gaga for Gaga.
I've only heard about half of 2 songs because Mary has this habit in the car. She'll put her music on. She listens to maybe a third, possibly a half of a song. And then it's like, on to the next one. I'm like, can we just listen to something all the way through? Just once.
Or my watch will start halfway in a song.
Yeah.
Because I have an Apple Watch, and I guess it picks up what I stopped. But as soon as we turn on the car, it's like, that's live.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's nice, but could I listen to it from the beginning?
But no, I have to say, when she puts her mind to it, she could rule the world. And I would wear the Nike shoes and the robe.
Yeah, I must admit, I am a little, maybe a little apprehensive about the Joker movie because I don't like musicals. And a lot of the songs from this Harlequin album sound like musical show tunes. At least from the 2 that I've listened to.
Do I like show tunes? Yeah, a little bit. I am one of I am a huge fan of Liza Minnelli. And like I said, Frank Sinatra. I love Guys and Dolls. But I also really love music, and I just love the fact that you can have some of the most beautiful Academy Award winners of the past have been musicals, and I have to say I have really liked a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We're going to go see it next weekend, aren't we, Joker 2? So, folie à deux, excuse me.
Is he going to fall?
No, he's fine.
Oh, sorry. We're talking about the cat. he's on the windowsill, and it looks like his butt's going to fall off. Anyway, let's get to the topic of today's podcast. And that is Hawkgirl and Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And the love, or kind of love, that we got to see.
The doomed romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kind of awkward.
Yeah, because you kind of see in a lot of the early episodes of Justice League that they don't really interact very much.
She comes off strong too.
She does.
And he is very I wouldn't say apprehensive, but he's very into his role. He's military man.
Yeah, and she is a military woman
exactly.
as well. Yeah.
And it's kind of like one of those things, like, we're too busy doing this stuff. We're too busy saving the world.
Yeah. I would say that there's kind of like a little tiny tease in the first season of Justice League when, during this savage time where Green Lantern gets separated from everyone in the past during World War II, and he's on Vandal Savage's plane sabotaging it. And then the plane starts to crash. And Martian Manhunter picks up John's mental signal and goes, "Oh, John's on that plane. Oh no!"
Oh
what?
No!
So, first question that came to my mind there: Martian Manhunter can become intangible. Why didn't he go on there and grab him?
For real.
But it's so that Hawkgirl could go over there, smash the glass, and rescue him.
Maybe he could hear both of them, and he heard something we didn't.
Yeah, maybe he's like, "Oh, by the way, nudge, 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 Hawkgirl. Why don't you go over there and help that there poor Green Lantern without his Green Lantern ring?"
You better go over there and save your man.
Yeah, I don't think he was doing that. They just
I don't think he was either.
But anyway, it's fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem at all.
So, what about...
Are you just checking your notes?
Yes, I am. I have to note everything in my life. Otherwise, I will just sit there and just stare at your Mask of the Phantasm poster for 24 hours.
Well, I guess the thing we were going to talk about next is the fact that Shayera makes a habit of saving Green Lantern, I suppose, because she did it in...
Women always do. Women always save their men.
Allegedly. I don't know where I was going with that.
So John nearly died, and then...
Yeah, because he gets blown up by... when he's trying to disarm one of the Joker's bombs. In what's that episode called? I wish I'd written it down. Wild Hearts, possibly. Big Mikey P will correct us, I'm certain.
He better.
If he's not still banned for spamming.
I'm waiting. I'm gonna take over the Big Mikey P3. I know there's only 1 and 2, but I'm gonna take over the 3 just so I could reply to his comment saying, "I agree. Yes, I agree."
Good. But anyway, he gets severely injured in this explosion, and Hawkgirl is obviously distraught and spends a lot of time by his bedside. And when he comes to, they have a little canoodle.
A canoodle. Yeah, Never have I ever said that.
No.
That's so cute. I like that you said
and
that.
I've actually got one of the production drawings from that scene, because she's wearing her helmet, and we've never seen her without the helmet before, and he just gingerly leans over and lifts the helmet off.
Yeah.
And she's a beautiful lady. What would we have done if she had like a massive beak and feathers and...
Have they not seen a picture of me?
I don't think he would have minded. He'd have been like, "You're a pretty boydie."
Birdie.
Yeah.
Sounded like the penguin there, Birdie. Get over here, Birdie.
Yeah. Colin Farrell.
Oh, Colin Farrell.
I know I've kind of lost my train of thought now, because we talked about Penguin, and I was just thinking about his manky foot.
Yeah.
Which is a subtle plug for Totally Schway Flipside, if you're not listening to that
really
already.
Good. I didn't even see that coming.
I know, I didn't either. It just popped into my head.
So, yeah, Totally Schway Flipside is on my channel. What's the name of my channel?
At Mary Susan Mears.
That's right. That is my name. Please don't look it up.
Too late.
Unless it's on YouTube. But yeah, that's where you can find us talking about the Penguin. We'll have another episode up on Monday, I believe.
Possibly Tuesday.
Maybe Tuesday. It
depends on when we actually watch it.
Because we have work.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If YouTube was my job, I'd watch it straight away, and I'd be like, "Yo!"
Well, it comes out at 2 a.m. our time.
It does.
So in theory, we could get up super early and watch it.
I'm probably gonna be up anyway because of the cat.
Yeah, but I don't want to get up that early because I have to work all day. But anyway.
On this next episode, it's just going to be me. Anyways, John and Shayera.
Yeah, sorry.
I say Shayera.
Yeah. Sound like...
Shayera.
Sound like a Latin mother getting angry with her daughter. Shayera, what are you doing? Get over here.
That sounded Italian.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do an accent. It just came out that way.
All right, so let's talk about comfort and joy.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's the next significant moment for the two. Because these two loners usually spend the holiday period on their own. They decide to pair up.
I love I love how they did this episode. I think we've talked about this before. But it is so unconventional, the way that this romance starts to bloom. And I just love... Like, one of my favorite things in this episode is when she takes is it slurp?
She takes a drink of something.
Yeah, I think that it's called something like that. She takes a big old swig of it, and then she starts a fight, and it's so cool.
Yeah, she hits the guy next to Green Lantern, and then points at him and goes, God.
That's the part.
Terrible.
It's like, blame him.
Big bar fight.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a missed opportunity to have Lobo turn up, but I think he probably would have dominated the scene too much.
It was Christmas. He is Santa Claus.
Yeah, he was killing Santa. Yeah, that's right.
Not killing Santa.
It was. If you haven't read Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special.
Yeah, I really I enjoyed how the writers wrote. No, I enjoyed how they made these two, like you said, loners actually enjoy the holiday season in such an unconventional way.
Yeah, and I found the last moments of their section of the episode quite nice, because it's after the bar brawl. Everyone was knocked out or just sleeping. They're like laying on top of that guy that they'd punched out.
Yeah.
And she just snuggles up to him and goes, like she's had the best time of her life.
Yeah. See, like I said, so I love it. I really do. now we get to a part that I'm not like the happiest about, and that is when it's star-crossed. When we find out, I guess you could say the truth, even though she never.
She never not said she was a spy.
I'm just saying, she never not said it. But we find out who Shayera really is.
Yeah, and I just want to say I really appreciate the title of this story, because obviously it's star-crossed. It implies, someone crossing the stars. It's the aliens, it's the Thanagarians, it's their invasion, yes. But it also refers to John and Shayera?
Yeah.
Shayera, excuse me, as star-crossed lovers, like Romeo and Juliet from two warring families. It's a very clever title. Really liked it.
I like it too.
And it's a very dramatic story.
Oh, let me put some words out there for you.
Go for it.
Dramatic. Frustrating.
What was frustrating about it?
The fact that they just didn't get married and go off happily ever after, and the alien-human Green Lantern could have turned his ring into a Cadillac so they could just go off into the distance.
Well, she flew off into the sunset.
Yeah, but not with him.
No, but she couldn't after everything that had happened. After everything that had happened, she couldn't do it, because she had lied to them the whole time, saying that she was a Thanagarian police officer that accidentally found their way to Earth, when she was deliberately sent there to spy on people.
Truth. But still frustrating.
And from their perspective, they didn't know that she did not know what the Thanagarians wanted to do with Earth.
Sadness, that's the third one.
Sadness, yes, yeah.
Because it's disheartening. That's the fourth one.
Yeah.
And such devastating.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously she has to leave after.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a conflicted character, isn't she? Because she doesn't want to betray her people.
Yes.
But at the same time, the Justice League and the people of Earth are also her people, and she doesn't want to betray them either. So, all right. She I wanted to say sold out. She didn't really sell them out to the Thanagarians, but she reported back to the Thanagarians. Thanagarians turned up. Thanagarians imprisoned the Justice League, or at least attempted to. And Shayera helped the Justice League get away. And she also told them what the Thanagarians were up to and how to stop it. Yeah. So I feel like, in a way, she kind of cancelled out that...
It's Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
She's the best thing ever.
It's a very difficult decision. I like the fact that the Justice League have a vote at the end of the story whether Hawkgirl gets to stay or not. And it was a tie, and Superman is the final vote. And they never... Well, during Justice League, they never said who voted what way. It was in Justice League Unlimited, where later on they explained that it was a tie, split down the middle, 3-4, 3 against, and Superman broke the tiebreaker and said, yep, she's coming back. But she made her own decision.
Did we ever actually find out who voted for or against it?
Wonder Woman voted against.
What about Bruce?
I don't think they said how Batman voted. They might have done. I might have forgotten. But Wonder Woman definitely voted against.
I think he would have voted to keep her.
And I think...
Flash would have voted to keep.
Do you know what? I can't remember now if they said how everyone voted, but let's do some speculating now. Let's pretend that they definitely didn't say it. So we know Superman voted keep. I think that the Flash would have voted keep.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's his friend.
Martian Manhunter would vote keep. And...
So that means Bruce would have done nay.
Batman and Wonder Woman say out.
And then who was it? There's one more.
Green Lantern.
Yeah. Oh, he would have voted out, I think. I think he would have
voted
out.
Because I'm just doing the counting there, and maybe I'm just tired, but Superman...
There's 7 of them.
Yeah. So how did they have a tie if there were 7 of them, 7 including Hawkgirl? One person didn't vote.
Hawkgirl wouldn't have voted.
No, I mean, out of those 6. Because you can't have a tie. See, this is live thinking happening on the mic.
But maybe Superman's vote was the ultimate vote.
No, because they said it was a tiebreaker, and Superman broke it.
If 3 of them did 3, or if 3 of them did yay, and the 3 of them did nay, Superman, being kind of like the leader, his vote is going to matter, like... the most. He's going to be able to...
That's a very controversial thing you said there, Superman being the leader.
No, you know what I mean in terms of this vote, and not in terms of the whole Justice League.
Well, I know the Flash isn't the leader.
Maybe that's what he wants you to think.
You know
but
what?
this episode is about John and Shayera.
Yeah, we probably should have watched that last couple of moments so I can remember exactly how they voted.
Yeah.
Big Mikey P to the rescue again, I'm certain.
You know what? I have been thinking about Big Mikey P a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him.
Good.
He's a good fella.
But anyway, so we get to the end of Star-Crossed. Shayera has chosen to leave the Justice League even though they voted to let her back.
Yes. And then...
And she I nearly swore then. She swans off with get the joke, swan?
Yeah.
Bird? Yeah.
She swans off. There
She
you go.
swans off with Dr. Fate and Amazo in his tower and kind of sulks
Yeah.
and plays chess with Aquaman.
Yeah.
And to the point that Aquaman is constantly losing to her, and then one time she lets him win, and that makes Aquaman very angry.
What does it
Angry
make him
man.
angry?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's kind of what they do. This isn't an Aquaman episode, so I'm not going to go into it too deeply, but that's basically how they got past the whole Super Friends
On the
Aquaman
next
as a joke.
episode. No, after that, we are actually in Justice League Unlimited, and we are introduced to the one, the only, Vixen.
Yeah, Vixen's an interesting character, isn't she? Because she's, well, in her day job, she's a supermodel. So she's obviously a very famous person. Everyone knows what she looks like. She doesn't bother wearing a mask.
No, why? Why would
But
she?
then she's got this necklace, I suppose, that gives her the ability to call on the powers of specific animals. Like, she can squeeze really tight like a snake or run really fast like a cheetah, that kind of thing. And it's kind of interesting that when Cheetah and Green Lantern are almost killed by the resurrected Grundy, that's when Hawkgirl comes back to kind of save the day.
And again, it's devastating because she has to make some choices that she's just like, we've won.
Well, she seems quite firm in the decision that the only answer to Grundy's problem is to put him down. Mary's just Googling.
Yeah.
What were the votes for Hawkgirl to remain in the Justice League? Quickly. There were 2 members voted to kick her out. Oh, Green Lantern recused himself. That's okay.
That's what it was.
There we go.
Of course.
Big Mikey P, your intervention is not necessary. So Superman voted to break her favour. The rest are unknown, but it's implied that Batman and Wonder Woman were against and Flash and Martian Manhunter were for. I got it right according to this Google search.
Oh, I see.
Written by a HR consultant.
On Cora. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So Bruce doesn't like betrayal.
No, well, of course he wouldn't.
Of course.
Of course he wouldn't.
All right. So Vixen.
Yeah.
So with Vixen. All right. Let's go into the future a little bit because we have to talk about Vixen because you know that John and Shayera end up getting together
Potentially, yes.
because of
Warhawk?
yes.
Yes, their son in the Batman Beyond era. Now, the thing is that just because they have a child doesn't necessarily mean that they've got together.
I'm just saying they got together. As in, like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Oh,
they,
I see. You're not saying.
Yeah.
You're saying that they copulated, not
Yes,
that they
I am saying
went
that
into a
they
deep, long-term
had a
relationship.
child
Right.
together.
I see.
And I think we have to feel bad for Vixen because.
Well, they might have been on a break at the time.
Oh gosh.
Because the thing with Vixen is she is very well aware of the history between.
And she's very independent as well.
Yeah, she's very independent.
She can take her own, and she can give it out just as well.
And she's confident in her own abilities. And she's like, yeah, it's fine that you're around. John will make his own choice, and I'm confident he will choose me.
Of course.
In a deep voice like that, as we all know.
A voice that I cannot do because I have too squeaky of a voice where she's got that sexy, like, lovely voice. And I'm like, how can I
I'm not intimidated by you, Shayera!
Hey, can I have your autograph?
Yeah, but their tension came to a head on that. What was that episode called? It was like Hunter Moon or Hunter's Moon, something like that, where as part of like the Justice League's international mission, or I suppose intergalactic mission, they respond to a distress signal. It's Hawkgirl, Vigilante, Vixen, and I think somebody else. I could be mistaken, but anyway, I remember those 3. But it's a trap set for them by the Thanagarians, who are licking their wounds after the events of Star-Crossed and losing the war with the Gordanians. But it's during the conflict there that Vixen and Shayera kind of break the ice with each other and are quite... you could even say they become friends.
I was just about to say that. You could say that they were friends.
Yeah, sort of friends, yes.
At a distance.
Yeah. But I always remember the scene at the end where they get back to the Watchtower and Green Lantern's waiting for them, and they both just like walk past him, like, don't need no man.
I loved that scene, and whoever wrote that must have been scorned before. You could tell.
I'm just I have a feeling it was. I'm just gonna hunt it around.
I really like the fact that in the DCAU, they would write these amazing lady characters that were independent, that could take their own, that could put out their own, and they could lift Superman up, but they could also knock him down. And that says a lot, because they, like Lois Lane, she could have probably just looked at Superman one way and he would have been like, I'm down. I'm down. And I love that, because I watched Batman and stuff like that when I was a kid, but I started watching Justice League when I was 21. And it was just so nice to see that this is a kid's show, or, it's supposed to be a kid's show, but we can love whatever we like in terms of animation. And they were doing strong, independent ladies.
Yeah, I mean, superhero comics have always done that. Well, I say always. For the longest time they have, particularly in the 60s and the 70s, because a lot of writers are quite liberal and progressive. And I personally think in order to be a successful writer, you need to be able to place yourself in the situations of others, the mindset of other people. So you see things from their perspective. And by seeing things from multiple perspectives, you tend to become a bit more liberal. You're like, well, I can see why someone would feel this way, I feel that way, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons I love these shows, and even when I was a kid, is that I grew up with, very... I could say that my grandparents were more liberal than the people around them.
Yeah, probably.
More accepting than people around where I grew up. And that's made me into a very liberal, very accepting, and very like, you are who you are, and who am I to tell you who you are? You tell me, because I want to know, and I will definitely up you, whatever it may be. Unless you're, a serial killer, then I'm not going to do that.
I mean, I often find myself thinking, if someone said some of the things I see expressed towards women, people of colour, people that aren't straight, etc. If someone had said something like that to me, I'd knock their...
their head in.
Yes, I would knock their teeth out, let's put it that way.
Or,
So... Why should they have to accept it if I wouldn't accept it?
And again, this is a cartoon. This is an animated show. And you get, people that watch this that are actually reporters. They're detectives now. There's all of these things that we saw these strong women in these cartoons do. They are those. And it's wonderful.
And not just... women, but it's a diverse cast as well. It's not just white people.
No, it's not. It's a beautiful, eclectic mix of personalities, ethnicities, even different religions.
Yeah.
And you want to know something? Never really got that until I was a kid, because it was something that I needed. I needed to see these cartoons, because a lot of time where I grew up in UA, it was very, I grew up in the Bible Belt. I think everybody knows I'm from Oklahoma now. I grew up in the Bible Belt, and sometimes, got to be honest with you, wasn't very pleasant to hear some of the things that came out of people's mouths.
No.
About women, about people of color. And sometimes you feel like you have to be that person as well, because that's, you think that's what humans are. But then you grow up and you get out of Oklahoma or wherever you may live, and you realize people are beautiful. And the things that these cartoons were telling me, like John and Shayera, you could say multiracial couple.
Yeah. I mean, one of them's got bloody wings.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'm about to say you could say that. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
and it was a beautiful thing, and that was never mentioned. It wasn't that was mentioned. It was the fact that she betrayed people, but
Yeah.
that was never mentioned, and I just thought that was so beautiful. And it's just coming around. This whole conversation is starting to circle back to the topic of the conversation. But what I want to say before I get back to the topic is, obviously, that lovely phrase that is just awesome, that love is love. It's not just about romantic love. No. It's about every love. It is about what you feel inside towards somebody else. And who cares if it's a man, if it's a woman, if, they're a person of color, if they're white. Who cares? As long as you love them, that's all that matters. And a cartoon. Yeah. Again, I've said this like 5 times just in this couple of minutes. A cartoon for children that was made for children showed me that, hey, it's okay.
Well, yeah.
And
yeah.
One of the main things is they didn't even mention the fact that John was black. Nope. Or that Shayera was probably Latino. I mean, if she, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They did not mention that whatsoever, and I think that's the kind of world I want to live in.
Yes. Yeah.
I came from a world where at times things like that were unacceptable, to a world that I live in now where as long as you're treating that person decent and you're loving that person, do it.
Yeah.
And also, the next president of the United States of America, she is going to be wonderful. But yeah, back to the topic.
So I think the thing, we kind of got to this because of Warhawk.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that makes Warhawk's existence interesting, not just for the viewers, but in the in-universe characters, is the fact that Green Lantern meets him when they travel to the future. Mm-hmm. And he makes a very interesting choice. Rather than going, oh, well, fate says I have a child with Hawkgirl, so I'm going to have a relationship with her. He goes, to hell with fate, I'm sticking with Vixen. Mm-hmm. And we don't really see any more of that afterwards. We don't see how the relationships develop. I know in Justice League versus the Fatal Five, they mentioned that Green Lantern and Hawkgirl are off on Rann fighting some sort of war in Rann.
Yeah.
Rann. Can't remember how it's pronounced. But anyway, so you could infer from that the reason that they are travelling the universe together is because they are in a relationship. Mm-hmm. But they don't explicitly say that. But
I just realized we were talking about diversity again. Mm-hmm. Oh no.
Oh, I know. It's the woke mind virus, Mary. It's got us again.
The Warhawk, it confuses me a little bit, but in the best way possible. Because you realize that even if it was just for like a brief moment, they did, her portrayal was kind of forgiven.
Oh yeah, I mean it was forgiven almost immediately,
like completely 100%. Like
yeah, I mean it took a while for Wonder Woman to come around. Mm-hmm. Again, they had to team up and they had to fight off. Was it Hades? I think it was Hades. No, was it Ares? It was one of the Greek gods. Mm-hmm. Whose name ends in Ease.
Ease. Are you sure it wasn't Nero? That's on my crossword.
That's a Roman emperor.
I know. I was making it funny because it's on my crossword. Crossword.
Yeah.
No, but what I mean is like, sometimes you can forgive somebody, but you still have like the thoughts and everything. Mm. But I'd like to think that eventually that their relationship they went, in my head, this is what happened. Vixen was like, you know what, I'm modeling and I've got too much on my plate right now for a relationship. Mm-hmm. I am going to just date me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to rule the world on Vogue cover after Vogue cover. She did 48 in total. Mm-hmm. She would have done 50, but she was just not in the mood. And then John and Shayera were like, oh, hey, let's try this out. And then they did. And then they were like, okay. And that was it.
The end.
I mean, it's kind of like that. I just hope the best for Vixen.
Yeah.
In this fictional TV show.
Well, listen, Vixen, I was going to say, don't need no man, but she doesn't.
That's
she
not
doesn't.
even the first time on this podcast that you've said that.
Really? I've already forgotten.
Yeah.
But she doesn't need John.
No,
she likes
does
him.
Not.
She, if he decides to leave, I think she'd probably be okay with it.
She'd be like, sure, I'm going to go off and do my 48 Vogue covers. Thank you. You better buy them.
What's Shining Knight up to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but, I think it's very interesting that, to get back to something I started mentioning earlier and then kind of trailed off and forgot about, Green Lantern obviously knows that Warhawk exists. He's met him. Mm-hmm. And the future Static also makes some funny jokes about, oh, you should have seen Shayera when she was pregnant. Confirming that Thanagarians don't lay eggs.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's kind of... Hawkgirl learns about him unintentionally. She doesn't go to John about it. She goes to Batman.
Yeah.
Because she approaches Batman and says, tell me about my son.
Aww.
Mm.
I was really happy, and then all of a sudden I was like, aww.
Well, he probably still exists. I know that Bruce Timm sometimes says that the Batman Beyond future is not like set in stone. It's a potential future.
Yes, it is. It's stone.
Yeah, in my mind it is.
In basalt. No, it's basalt really. No, it's bedrock.
Bedrock.
It's really, in Minecraft, it's really, you can't break it unless you're in the, free roaming bit. You can't break it.
Yeah, Bruce, stop trying to change things.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, John and Shayera totally get back together.
Yeah, I'm going to get a John Shayera forever tattoo.
To be fair, I could see me doing something like that. I did actually, on my notes, I have a heart with an arrow going through it that has J and S.
Mm-hmm. Very pleasant.
I would do something like that. Although I only have one tattoo that people seem to think says Brandon.
Well,
with that, I think that's a good ending.
Good ending.
For our podcast. Shall we get to some comments?
Yes, we can. So there was a comment that came in a little bit too late on, not the last episode, the one before, but I did say to him that I would read it out, and that was one from the Phantasm.
Oh, hello.
It is, once again, a novel, so I will read it to the best of my ability. If I collapse midway, know that I died doing what I love. I'm joking. Okay. So the Phantasm says, hey guys, hope all is well. So in the case of the DCAU Penguin, I won't spend much time on things like its potential and how it could have been used better, since that's already well known and Luke has already an entire video about it. Instead, I want to talk about something else about this version of the character that ultimately contributed to the DCAU Penguin not really being well regarded, even by the actual writers of the show, and that is his lack of a distinct identity. There's nothing really about this depiction of Penguin someone could say or reference that makes me think, oh, that reminds me of the Beat-Ass Penguin. What, not even going, Wah! No, I think that's a fair enough statement to make. When going through some of the backstories they wanted for some of the villains on Beat-Ass, out of all of them, Penguin is the one who I think would have benefited the most from incorporating it into the show, because it would have given... would have very much give a better grasp, of his character and motivation. Alas, with a lot of the Penguin-centric episodes, there wasn't really anything distinct that gave a reason for the Penguin to be there, and really, he could have been switched out with almost any other villain, and it wouldn't have made any difference to the plot. Now, obviously, there's quite a few bad Penguin episodes. Yes, obviously, I've got Batman in my basement, and personally, I also hate Blind as a Bat. The one episode that a lot of people say use Penguin well is Birds of a Feather. Including me, I said that. It's never really something you hear people refer to as one of the best episodes of the show. Nothing like that, but it's looked at a bit more favourably. But sadly, I always found it very engaging. unengaging, excuse me. I appreciate the angle of seeing how society treats Oswald, but other than the scene of him saving Veronica, I don't think there's even a time where it makes you feel like endeared to him. Like, big deal. No one showed up to greet one of the most notorious criminals in Gotham. And I can never even remember the name of the man making fun of Penguin. Pierce Chapman, my nemesis. But he was one of the most cliche rich snobs I've seen. I actually think that, for me, the best Penguin episode is actually The Mechanic, because it's the only time in BTAS that Penguin actually comes across as intimidating, like the scene where he says he's sending the man, his name escapes me, on a sea cruise. It was the accountant, wasn't it? Or when he's threatening Earl's daughter. True, it's not as focused on the Penguin as a character, but I think it's the best showcase of him as a villain in BTAS. However, in general, I think by far the best utilisation of Penguin as a character and a villain in the entire DCAU is in Mystery of the Batwoman. When it comes to his overall look in the show, it's impossible not to bring up the obvious Tim Burton influences, even though the creative team weren't exactly a fan of it. With Penguin's BTAS and TNBA designs, it's the only case, really, where it's much less about the designs of the show and more about if someone prefers the classic comic book look for the character or the Tim Burton deformed loner weirdo inspiration. And speaking for myself, even though I really enjoyed Batman Returns, I have never been a fan of Burton's vision for the Penguin. To me, Burton's Penguin represents Tim Burton going a bit too far. It's just so gratuitous and overindulging in how gross he is. The black blood, being raised by penguins in the sewer, being locked in a cage as a baby, and whatever he did to that poor cat. The constant overt gross comments towards most women he interacts with, and one of my least favourite design elements for the Penguin, the flipper hands. I always found it weird how in the end the penguins gathered to have a sort of funeral for him, and the movie treats it as a sad thing, but I was always glad to see him die, and never felt sorry for him. Also, as an aside, I'm guessing Luke probably has, but Mary, I'm not sure if you've ever read any of the comic stories about Penguin written by Danny DeVito, but my lord, they are so terrible. I love Danny as an actor and a writer, but comics is maybe something he shouldn't be writing.
I have not, but I'm intrigued. I am very intrigued. I was looking at, I'm going to be honest with you here. I was looking at a picture of some nails that I want to have done. I was still listening to your comment, but I was like, I'm listening. I heard Danny DeVito, and I was like, I'm here. Right here.
To touch on the DCAU designs a bit more, the BTAS Penguin design is just so disappointing. It feels like a toned-down version of the Burton design with elements of the various comic book designs. But ultimately it just feels like an uninteresting hodgepodge of them, and sadly has none of the interesting parts of any one of them. As much as I don't care for Burton's Penguin, at least I can admit that he has a far more distinct sense of identity compared to BTAS Penguin. It's one of the reasons why I prefer TNBA design for Penguin. However, comparatively, I think that his best DCAU design is the original concept for the character that had more purple incorporated in the design, mainly because it reminds me of Burgess Meredith. I still wouldn't ever say that the original concept design is the best Penguin design ever, but it's better than what we got. I also just feel that Paul Williams' voice just fits the TNBA character model more, and it sounds more natural when his voice comes out of that design as opposed to the BTAS design. If I'm being honest, I actually believe that David Ogden Stier's voice would fit the BTAS character model a lot more, since I always pictured a deeper voice when looking at that design. The only time that a Tim Burton-inspired Penguin design has ever worked for me is in the Batman 2004's Penguin. I love how he is meant to look like an emperor penguin, and in general, that penguin has much stronger sense of identity than the BTAS Penguin, and is more appealing to me than the Burton one. When it comes to the Penguin, the first thing in my mind will immediately always go to first is Burgess Meredith's portrayal. Him as Penguin is, for me, in a list of best and most accurate live-action castings for comic book characters, similar to J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, and so on. So many attributes that have become synonymous with the Penguin exist because of Burgess Meredith, like the iconic laugh that sounds like a squawk, that only exists because the poor man couldn't handle the smoke from the cigarettes. His amazing speech pattern that many have used for the character since, and just his general demeanour. To me, he will always be the definitive voice of the Penguin. I do prefer, however, the more modern status quo of the character of him operating as the owner of the Iceberg Lounge. But still, the performance is perfect. I'm so glad that they included it in the DCAU, which is surprising considering the concept was introduced in comics right around the same time the show was being made. When talking about the lack of enthusiasm of the BTAS creative team for the Penguin, It's very easy to tell when watching any of his BTAS appearances. In fact, just recently I came across a video of someone very recently talking to Alan Burnett at a con, where he was asked about their approach to the Penguin during BTAS, to which Alan responded by saying, "No, we never came up with a good Penguin. You know the one in the video games? That's a Brit. Classic gangster type. I wish we had done something like that." Funnily enough, the guy that asked him that question watches my videos, and he left a comment saying that he was going to ask Alan Burnett about that.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's not hard to understand that sentiment, because let's not forget when the Arkham Penguin made his official debut in Arkham City, he was written by Paul Dini, and I think you can tell how much more enthusiastic he felt about writing Penguin that time around. It's definitely the most developed and most comics accurate adaptation of a modern crime lord Penguin, as he uses personality. I love how they characterise him as a hoarder with a museum and collecting souvenirs from the people he killed and the various gangs he's defeated. And yeah, the glass bottle in the eye that he was attacked with is not for everyone. Definitely not for me. But to that I say, there's always his Arkham Origins design. Lastly, when talking about the DCAU Penguin, there's also the voice, or rather voices, of the character, and I feel both Paul Williams and David Ogden Stiers do a fairly good job bringing the character to life. I'd say I prefer Paul Williams, and although I wouldn't necessarily say he's the definitive voice for Penguin or anything like that, I really like what he brought to the role. I know Martin Pascoe was not fond of his performance, but I wonder if that maybe had to do with the fact that the Penguin never really had good dialogue for him to work with. I will say that one of the things that frustrated me about the Penguin in BTAS was the overindulging bird puns. It was so abundant, and honestly, it never came across as endearing. Instead, my reaction to them was, oh god, not another one. What's worse is they never felt like he said them to show him being smug, and it never felt earned. It wasn't quite as bad as Arnold's ice puns, but it wasn't far off. I liked how in TMBA he didn't say them as much, but when he did, it felt more earned. Of course, there's the topic of Cape Crusader's new take on the Penguin. It's expected that the usual people are going to complain about it, but when you get past their idiocy, it's an all-right take. It doesn't terribly stand out, as she doesn't have enough screen time to judge her. Honestly, I think they should have made her the one who put the hit on Barbara in episode 7, because it would make it more impactful than if it was just some guy that we never saw before or after that episode. I know some were surprised that she didn't hesitate to kill her sons, but I wasn't terribly surprised, and it's not that horrid compared to what Comic Penguins has done over the years. I was most surprised when Batman travelled underwater and saw hundreds more in the bottom of the sea, which made me go, oh wow, that's a regular thing she does. Personally, although I quite enjoyed Minnie Driver's performance, and especially her singing, assuming it was her,
I think it was.
I had a strange uncanny valley feeling that the performance didn't totally match the design for me. I think I'll mainly check it out again because of the Joker. Whew, I need to go and lay down.
Minnie Driver is wonderful. She's a wonderful actress. And I think that was her singing.
Yeah, I think it was as well. There was a Comic-Con presentation where I think they asked her about that. I have a vague recollection of someone talking about her singing voice and her being very flattered by the remark. Right, so I'm just getting to the comments from the last episode. So there are a couple of novels on here, but let's go through them.
Could we start out with Big Mikey P, because his original account is back?
I'm not certain that it is.
It says here on my computer, right here.
I might be thinking of something else then. Well, I'm going to start with the first comment that came through, which was from Austin Busumbru. I hope I've said your name correctly, Austin. I apologise if I haven't.
123.
123, yes. New commenter, I believe, as well. I think I would remember a name like that because I'm struggling to say it. Who says, I absolutely love your channel. Well, that was very nice of you to say that. Thank you for sharing it. I wouldn't bother doing any of this stuff if people didn't watch or didn't listen. I appreciate every single one of you, except for the people that leave rude comments.
Luke is, I have to say this about Luke, he's a very dedicated person, and he does this because it's something that interests him, but it's also to have information out there and also have, people that don't write stupid, silly, insulting comments. It's for people like you that want to hear these things and also want more information about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So next comment is from Harry Flew TV. Hello, Harry. Says, I'll be honest and say I liked Birds of a Feather, but I felt it could have been padded out a little bit more. Personally, I don't see the Penguin being sympathetic. I always imagine him being a crime boss on the surface, but he's a savage sewer beast underground who's more like a savage monster than a human. Think of something like Pennywise the Clown, where he's far from human and is just a manipulative psychopath who abducts the wealthy to steal their fortunes and riches. At least that's what I want from my version of the character. Fair enough, Harry, fair enough.
Warner Brothers, there's another writer to add to your roster. It's Michael Pelham, Mary Mears, and
Harry Flew.
We're here. We could do stuff and things, and that's all. Hire us.
It's all right. Warner Brothers don't pay any attention to me. They deliberately ignore me, and it's fine.
That's okay. We won't get out of bed for less than 100,000 doll hairs.
Yeah.
And when I say doll hairs, I'm talking about the new Harley Quinn.
Just punched over a drink.
I got so excited I knocked over my Stanley. But when I'm talking about doll hairs, I'm talking about the new Harley and Ivy dolls. Anyways, we're here.
Yeah. I'm going to continue with the comments now, because we've got quite a few to get through, so I'm going to try and get through these quickly.
Cool, let's do it.
We've been going for over 50 minutes, and
That's okay.
I'm stressing out about the 10 minutes remaining.
I see chicken news.
Yes, that's the next comment from Screen Wiper. It's chicken news. If you watch Totally Schway Flipside and read the comments, then you'll know that 1 week ago I rescued 2 new hens. I have named them Doris and Mabel. They're so cute, very sweet, very respectful, polite and friendly. Mabel especially, she is going to become a proper daddy's girl. Aww. They're small, pale and raggedy looking, dwarfed by Betty and Wilma, who have grown into big fluffy things. Though looked at least as bad when I first got them. One day Mabel and Doris will look as well as they do. Wilma and Betty, despite being welcomed warmly into the family by Blue and the amazing when they, with Pebbles, arrived here in the same situation 30 months ago, are being most indignant about the whole thing. Very territorial, rude and unwelcoming. I tell them to be more like their foster mum and welcome the newbies with kindness, but they don't get it. They do understand I don't want them to attack the new hens. They just don't agree with me yet. I can tell they're jealous of the new hens. Wilma in particular has expressed concerns of losing her relationship with me. I told her the only thing that can damage that is being a bad girl. So I made sure to give Wilma and Betty lots of affection and treats still, which seems to help. At first, Wilma and Betty just wanted to kill Doris and Mabel and charge from across the garden to try. If they shared a space, I'd need to be physically between them to prevent violence. But I'm training them now. When they share a space, I normally need only give a vocal command and they stand down. Not always, though. Violence gets hens sent to the brig for a timeout. Main triggers are where the environment forces them close together, passing each other on a narrow area, or when they both go for the same food source at the same time. Most of the time the two factions are kept separate and segregated, and I've been experimenting in different ways to do this all week. I rearranged all the furniture in the aviary, e.g. the coop, the perch, the climbing frame, and the mechanical feeder, the water butt, the sandbath, the treat bowl, etc. So I can split it into 2 sections with a simple partition easily and quickly. Now I can leave the house for longer than an hour. When I'm in, I just have one faction locked in the aviary and the other loose in the garden and swap them around every 2 or 3 hours. The new hens also sleep in the coop with the older hens now, but need a partition between them to prevent violence. This prevents either Betty or Wilma sleeping in their preferred spot, depending on which side of the divide they're on. And they moan, but that's what they get until I can trust them to share all spaces peacefully. Doris got her knee injured after Wilma jumped her, but Wilma injured her ankle too. Both have limps for days, but are walking much better now. Betty got injured too after sticking her head in the back door as I was closing, got her face crushed, had her nose bleed and a gash in her beak. Oh, that's terrible. Were I not closing the door so gently, I'd have smashed her face and she'd have died horribly. I tended the wound and nosebleeds stopped soon. There was no blood running into her mouth. I gave her anti-inflammatory painkillers. She remained able to peck, eat and drink. Now she too seems fine, but will have a scar on her beak for the rest of her life.
Oh, poor Betty.
No idea why she suddenly stuck her head in the closing door. Probably saw a spider or something and tried to eat it. Anyway, with the various segregation settings figured out and the new hens realising they have a home here, Doris and Mabel are laying eggs. Doris lays them in the box they slept in when they were housed in the garage rather than the coop, while Mabel insists on laying eggs in the coop. I now only ever let the hens mingle and all roam fully free when I'm out with them for close supervision. When Wilma, Betty, threatens Doris Mabel, they run to or hide behind me. Mabel loved me from the start, but Doris was scared of me and instead was always trying to befriend Betty and Wilma and getting the chicken version of a punch in the face for trying. I'm glad they both seem to see me as a protector for them. Much easier to keep them safe, and it's just adorable whenever I do it. Hopefully next episode I'll be able to say they all hang out peacefully like good foster sisters, but we'll see. This could take months. Sooner the attempts at violence stop, and everyone can have all their territory again, and better for everyone, including me.
Oh, I love chicken updates. Thanks, Screen Wiper.
So Josh EZ5H4 replied. He returned to last time we'd said that he had a delightful cat in his picture. And he's responded saying, that's my cat Tigger. I was going to leave a reply saying how he was begging for the chicken I was making. Sounds like our cat.
I love Tigger. I love Tigger.
So next we have SR Striker, who says, well, I prefer the original design of the Penguin and Paul Williams, as I think that is what he should sound like, as he should have been used more often. Like, I could see a lot of potential to use him. Like, I always felt the Batman and Penguin should be like Elliot Ness and Al Capone from The Untouchables, as well as Daredevil and Kingpin and Scrooge McDuck and Glomgold. Batman is Scrooge. Actually, I can kind of see that. I think could have led his own version of the Injustice League that would take place before Starcrossed and after Lex's pardon and Grodd's defeat in the Secret Society episodes. And also in Batman Beyond, where he takes over Terry's body, and the episode would have been called The Wrong Terry, as a parody of Wallace and Gromit's The Wrong Trousers. There's an idea, a very Schway idea.
We love Schway ideas.
Oh, and you were right, Mary. Big Mikey P's original account has left a comment. I see the suspension was lifted.
Michael Andre Padon 359
says, if this comment shows up, seems the original account is running again. Really hope Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond Season 3 and Return of the Joker, and maybe even Static Shock will also get official soundtracks. Really don't understand algorithms and uncharacteristic disinterest on an underrated Batman show. But then we live in a society where Nacho Libre and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids are less than 7.0 plus on rating scores, while The Dark Knight Rises and Avatar have more than that rating score.
I've never seen Avatar.
No, me neither.
Or Nacho Libre.
Meantime, I just reached the third season of Teen Titans, The Batman 2004, and Batman Brave and the Bold binges. No plans to restart the Marvel show binges yet. On the flip side, this episode isn't about that guy from Prophecy of Doom, the other guy from POV, and the other guy, but big in The Forgotten. You're talking about Boss Biggest. Paul Williams is also known for playing Little Eno's Burdette in Smokey and the Bandit and its average sequels. Yes, I was aware of that. The showrunners should have done more for the character in spite of apathy. Just look at Waspinator from Beast Wars Transformers and how the creatives started liking him over time. The DCAU Penguin leaned too much on birds. The Batman 2004's Penguin is A-OK with having Man-Bat, Firefly and Killermoth as company in comparison. At least in BTAS fillers aren't worth decanonising, so skipping them is kind of unwise. Voice acting can surprisingly do wonders even to now familiar plots and otherwise wonky animation. See Homeworld 1 plus Cataclysm and Kimono Friends Season 1 subbed, respectively. Also, would not want to change channels to Power Rangers, would rather change to Disney Channel's afternoon cartoons, quite especially Gargoyles.
Wait, you were rich when you were a kid. You had the Disney Channel.
If not, we'll try watching VHS tapes of magical girl shows like Cardcaptor Sakura and Gao Gai Ga, because Mahou, Shoujo and Mecha is significantly greater than Toku Sentai. If not even that, Babylon 5 seasons 1 to 4 and The Gathering in the beginning and Sleeping in Light was quite a big live action show then. I don't know why that made me laugh. In proper DCAU canon, BTAX Jason Todd Robin should be replaced by post BTAS pre-TNBA Batgirl when it comes to Penguin's new look explanation. Not that preferable of Steers playing Penguin in Mystery of the Batwoman, but man, he is still quite a notable actor, what with his roles in MASH and Lilo and Stitch.
Go MASH!
However, can understand why people may want to skip Mystery of the Batwoman, but they really shouldn't skip Chase Me. Also can admit the movie is no Hoop Squad. Good taste, that theatre having Alien and Terminator 1 on the run-up, May it also have Aliens and T2 special editions after. As an aside, Harley's Holiday felt like an episode from the early Lupin the Third or Dirty Pair, due to the fast hijinks and hilarity surrounding the animation, voice acting, and of course the comedy and spare seriousness. 36 minutes 16 going to timestamp for revisiting as remarked in 41:44. Kutzbar is pronounced Kutzbar, not Kutzbar. Is that not what I said? I don't know.
I am just going to say that you probably say it wrong, just like I say everything wrong.
Tomato.
Yeah. Oh, can I just say one thing? Mike P, I know that you're American or Canadian now. I'm assuming you're American, and there's one word that I can tell that from. And can you guess what? Because you've just read it a few sentences ago. Theater.
Yeah.
Because over here they say cinema. Like when I say, "Oh, I want to go to the theater," sometimes people are like, "What?"
Yeah, theatre is where you go watch a play, whereas cinema is where you go and watch a movie.
No, I still say movie theater.
Yes.
I will forever and always be an American.
It's all right. I don't begrudge Americans with their incorrect expressions.
I just thought it was nice seeing somebody else say theater for cinema.
44 minutes and 21 seconds, but the voice direction is sorely wanting, while the actors are mostly amateur newcomers and not theatre and movie veterans. For reasons, Apocalypse's henchman Cortez in X-Men the Animated Series sounds like Anakin Skywalker from the Star Wars prequels, but too over the top in a bad way. And Spider-Man the Animated Series has a lot of strange fake accents and too fast recordings and scene pacing transitions. Oh yeah, they crammed a lot into those 20-odd minutes. Twin Peaks Season 1 and Year 2 still seem to be rewatchable. Not sure about the newer seasons, though. Pass on wrestling. Bruce Wayne Batman, really good at Grey Ghost fanboyisms, really bad at cute girls doing cute things, comfort show appreciation. To anyone curious, their shows like Sketchbook, K-On!, Girls und Panzer, and Non-Don Biori. No thoughts on Brightburn from me, though the kick-ass same universe reveal is fascinating. The Iron Giant is the better Superman-esque film. Strange side note, I'm more into Jollibee and not McDonald's.
We've had Jollibee.
Yeah, they opened over here recently.
One time or two times?
Once, and it was decent. They messed up our order, though, and didn't tell us. Anyway.
But I liked it. It was good fried chicken.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some more next time we go in.
Yeah.
Goody was hoping the next episode wouldn't be about the Whedon-Snyder films. Well, you're in luck. We're not talking about those.
Who?
Who?
What?
Right.
Thank you so much, Michael.
All right, we've gone past an hour. I'm going to have to speed through these. Next, we have Doc Widener. Hello, Doc. How you doing? He says, thank goodness you're here. Nice video to wake up to and get some Sunday morning tasks done. Wide nerd without the D is how you pronounce my last name, and happy to hear you had a good week. Despite the heat here, it's supposed to be 32 degrees C. I was in the pie baking mood and had some pumpkin pie I made on Friday. Also made some apple. Do you guys have a favourite pie?
Chicken pot pie.
Mary likes chicken pot pie.
No, I like pumpkin pie.
Like pumpkin pie.
But I'm not the biggest pie person.
I don't mind an apple pie. Speaking of posters, Batman Returns had one of my favourites, sadly lost in a sump pump failure flooding my basement. This is not the first time someone has said sump pump to us in the last week, because I had to ask what it was. Can't remember what the first time was, though.
That really sucks, because that's the thing, like, I never want to have a basement, because, like, they're always, like, they're such nuisance.
I want to have a basement. That is what I get for having Batman in my basement. Good reference. The first teaser poster was a white background, black outline with the cowl and the words Returns and the June 19th. Very simple, but very elegant. You answered my next question. You still haven't seen Kite Man yet. I wondered as I was doing my catch-up watching, since a few of your recent episodes touched on some folks that show up in it. It has one of my favourite takes on Darkseid in a while, due in part because my older son's boyfriend is named Brandon. That will make sense by episode 10. Is Darkseid's real name Brandon? Am I going to have to check this out? I am, aren't I? Any luck with the Batman popcorn container? I have my eye on a couple of auctions on eBay, but I don't really want to spend £30 to have it delivered. But I might do it after.
Don't you worry, he will end up with one, I'm sure.
Yeah, there are lots of them for sale, and actually one of the auctions I was watching, they dropped the price by about 15% because they had over 30 of them, and they haven't sold them all. But anyway, no AMC close to me. I assume they're all gone by now. Yeah, presumably they are.
I thought they were too until this came up.
Yeah, they're all on eBay. They replaced the orange drink of my youth with High C Orange Lava Blast, and then got rid of that in 2017. However,
How could they?
They brought it back in 2022. But for the Happy Meal, by default, they offer white milk, chocolate milk, Dasani water, or apple juice.
I, as a type 1 diabetic, and a person that you can't drink milk, I have, it makes my tummy hurt. I can have cheese, like processed cheese, but not milk. I'd have to go with the Dasani water, and that's not my favorite water. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm an Aquafina gal.
Okay, well,
I
I'm
had
glad
comments on that. And I loved High C as a kid, but it always, knowing some of the information you now have about me, it always gave me a really bad headache, and I felt like I was going to jump out of my own skin.
When I was last
Sugar.
in the States, I had a medium, I can't remember what brand it was, but it was a orange drink, fizzy drink.
Mm-hmm. Was it Sunkissed?
No, I can't remember. But I drank it all, and it made me feel very unwell.
He's not a sugar drinker or a carbonated drinker.
Okay, not a carbonated
That's what I meant to
drink.
say, not sugar. Carbonated sugar drinker.
It's just, it was too much. It was too much. And the thing is, over here in Europe, they've cut the sugar down massively in our drinks.
I love a Parsitam.
I don't.
I love it. Xylitol.
We're getting massively off topic,
Stevia.
and look, we're over an hour and 5 minutes in.
That's fine.
Absolutely crazy.
That's fine.
Zehanaut 10. Hello, Zehanaut.
Hello.
I feel like the three classic villains...
Oh, thank you, Doc.
Yes, thank you. I feel like the three classic villains the DCAU team had no interest in were Penguin, Riddler, and Scarecrow.
I agree.
To a certain extent. I think they didn't have much interest in Penguin. They were interested in Riddler, but as many of them have said, they really struggled with the riddles and they didn't want to embarrass themselves. And Scarecrow,
Right.
he was used quite a lot in some good episodes, but yeah, I mean, I don't really know about Scarecrow. I don't know if I would say that, but
I agree with
I can see why you would say that. Next we have A1ML33Y.
Woohoo! Does that mean that your name is Amy and you're 33 years old?
Oh.
I'm
Oh,
not
is
sure.
that an I, not an L?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Interesting. Well, anyway, the comment is... Batman animated series Oswald always felt like a small-time villain who I never took seriously. I like how Paul Williams played him, but I liked him more as a nightclub owner than a petty crook, unless this is the Penguin leaving comments on this video. Dun, dun, dun. I feel like I'm the only one who likes Batman Returns and the idea of the Penguin being a crooked mayor. No, I love it. And also, I'm sure you know this already, but the Penguin did become the mayor of Gotham City in Batman Adventures Volume 2 and was a crooked mayor. But I have a question for Luke and Mary. Why is DC Comics movies, sometimes animated series, so damn dark and self-serious? Because I've been rewatching X-Men 97 and Batman Cape Crusader. X-Men is way more exciting despite the world-ending stakes, but Cape Crusader doesn't have that pop, and this version of Bruce is a jerk, like Frank Miller All-Star Batman. Like, does DC hate fun, colour, and humour when it comes to Batman and stuff?
Sometimes. But I just have to mention this. On your YouTube channel, that tuxedo cat that you have, can I have it? I love your cat. Amy is not their name, by the way.
No.
Julia. We've actually gone through
yes.
this before. We've
Yeah.
gone through this before.
Yeah, we have. Yes.
Yeah. I
Julia
love your
Rowe.
cat. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love your cat.
Okay, so next comment. I am not entirely sure how to say this name, but it's spelt JeuE and then bees. Jubies, possibly. I apologise if I got that wrong. Yeah, McDonald's in the USA would be a no-go, and if anything, we've deregulated more. Yeah, I bet. Just how much growth hormones are there in that Diet Coke?
I'm sorry, I was still thinking about the cat, and I don't eat at McDonald's because I don't eat red meat.
Yeah, we sometimes get a breakfast from there.
But also it gives me heart palpitations.
Next, we have David Carney, who says, hi, Luke and Mary. Really enjoyed
Hello.
Luke's appearance on Casually Comics. Thank you. That was lots of fun. I like Paul Williams as the voice of Penguin. Character was really underused, as he is in the comics. Danny DeVito is my favourite live-action Penguin. just ahead of Colin Farrell. Great podcast as always. David, have you read the recent Penguin series by Tom King? I thought that was quite good. Defuxer Plays is next. Hello, Defuxer. Nice to see you again.
Hello again.
Question. While the Penguin in BTAS was not really all that interesting most of the time,
Agreed.
was he worse than the Penguin was depicted in The Batman? Personally, I feel that the Penguin, and really most of the criminals in The Batman, were a little too simple in their motivations. I'll note as well that there were some villains in the show that I did like, just not the Penguin. I mean, to be honest, I understand why some people like The Batman. And I think it's well made, perfectly well written, but it doesn't speak to me. So I don't really care too much for Tom Kenny's Penguin. I think it was Tom Kenny that was the Penguin. But hey, different folks like different strokes.
Truth.
Next comment comes from the... You going to say something?
Can I read this one?
Yes.
You read the name and then I'll read the comment.
Yeah, I believe it's the Great Acolyte. I believe it's the Great Acolyte.
Cool.
Thank you, Great Acolyte, for that. Always appreciate it when people take the time to leave a comment and express their enjoyment of stuff. You don't have to write 10,000 words.
I like it when...
Yeah, one word is more than enough.
Oh, shush.
No, I'm being serious.
I love all of the comments I get. I don't care how short
You don't have to read them all.
No, I don't. But I still love reading them, and I still love the fact that for someone to take time, no matter how much they write, that's time you can't get back. And thank you so much for giving that to us. I'm not a person with many friends in this world, but I do now count you guys as my friends.
That was very nice. Mm-hmm. So next we have Evan Bow, who says, Hello, Evan Bow. I think you might be a new commenter. I say that about everybody, and I bet you all that leave hundreds of comments.
He's like...
I talk to you every day.
Yeah, he's like, Mary Susan Mears. Oh, you're a new commenter.
Yeah. What they should have done with BTAS Penguin is give him the backstory from the Batman TV series. Namely, he's the heir of a wealthy family that just lost the entire fortune to poor business management, and Penguin has been stealing loot to restore said fortune. This would give Penguin an actual reason to steal stuff beyond being bird-themed. I would also have Penguin being a mama's boy, except really lean on the Norman Bates parallel. Namely, that Penguin's mother is not a good person and is in fact more akin to Oswaldo Cobblepot. But Penguin doesn't want to see that and pretends that his mother is innocent and would die of a heart attack if he exposed as a criminal. That would be quite interesting if they were both criminals hiding it from each other. Penguin's mother knows that her son is a criminal, but pretends she doesn't so that she can reap the rewards that her son would give to her. Okay, that's another way of doing it. Kind of similar to the Penguin's mother in the Penguin TV show, although she doesn't hide the fact that she knows. I would also have Penguin suffer a mental breakdown similar to that of Birds of a Feather that would cause Gotham's justice system to deem him insane. Penguin would be sent to Arkham, where he could participate in classic trial episode where he would get an actual origin story from him and his motives. Though Penguin would be too proud to admit that he's been deemed insane, he does realise there is one benefit to being in Arkham, which starting over with a clean slate through sanity cured. Penguin would legally get out of Arkham as a sane person and then establish the Iceberg Lounge to showcase that he went legit and regrets his criminal actions. Of course, he's lying and is actually using the Iceberg Lounge as a front to run a black market involving all of Gotham's supervillains. Yep, I think that's a fair suggestion. Could very well be the case. They never say that it didn't happen. Next, we have Lowell Lucas Jr. Hello, Lowell Lucas Jr. Hello, Mary and Luke. You both make me say gadzooks. I enjoy the reviews, which might seem askew, but I came to enjoy both of you. Yes, nice little rhyme at the start.
I love that. And by the way, did you ever shop at Gadzooks?
What, me?
No, I'm talking.
You were looking at me, and I was just like, "What?"
I was waiting for a response from Lowell.
Yeah.
Like, please tell me.
Please respond, Lowell Lucas Jr. Please say something. First of all, great review and collab on the Batman with Casualty Comics. Thank you, as I mentioned in a few minutes ago. That it was good fun, and we're going to do something else in the future.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, I mean it's almost edited. I just have to do my bit. I'm behind on stuff. I'm really behind on stuff. I always used to be a month ahead of my schedule, and now I'm like a couple of days, and it's kind of stressing me out. But anyway,
he takes one day off because he's sick, and the world goes to
1.5 days, and then I'm like a month behind schedule. Going, oh God! But anyway. It was quite the joy to hear you both laugh and enjoy Batman content together. As far as the Batman video, Luke, I'd assume people either weren't fans of the Batman or afraid of your opinions of it. Please don't crap on my show. The way I see it, you shared your thoughts and stood by it, so for me at least, I liked and respected it. As for Penguin, I really like the Penguin in BTS. I preferred him here over his more Silver Age comics design later in the new Batman adventures. Aside from Birds of a Feather, I enjoyed him as a secondary character, whether he's with fellow rogues in the Strange Tale of Bruce Wayne. Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, come on now. Almost got him, his sicking his birds at Bruce, or even offering a refreshing drink of rat poison before he leaves. To me, he regards himself a gentleman first, and a villain second. Seems like he views his true self as a high society type that may indulge with the villainy to add some flair to his life, and the villains seem to respect that about him. Despite what people think, I like Mystery of the Batwoman. Whether it's the scene where Bruce interrogates someone and the goon closes the door saying, "Nothing to see here," or Bruce cheating on poor Barbara, I still enjoy it. Same with the Killing Joke and the Harley Quinn B-Test movie. People can boo and hate all they want, but I love them. I mean, I don't think that Batman was cheating on Barbara Gordon. It's that Barbara Gordon was coming on strong to him, and he was like, this makes me nervous. I'm going to pretend I'm not available. And then goes off with Kathy Duquesne. Anyway.
There are just some things I can't forget. I cannot forgive. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to go into it. So now, this is what I can't forgive.
Damn it, Bruce.
Just kidding.
So next we have Play Content. Hello, Connor. Who says, I always think, not literally always, I'd have even more mundane mind if that were true, that instead of using the nameless, faceless gangster in POV, they could have used the episode to debut Penguin. The idea of that character being very deliberately shrouded in mystery and wearing a hat and monocle would have been a lot more satisfying if it was a recurring rogue. And it'd be far better debut for the Penguin than I've Got Batman in My Basement. To be fair, some people might say an episode of something like Super Ted would have been a better DCAU Penguin debut. I agree with those people, and so do I. I don't know if either of you happen to have seen the film called Phantom of the Paradise. Paul Williams did the music for it and plays a villain called Swan. Must have been in his contract that he only played bird-themed villains. It's one of my favourite films ever, and I noticed Kevin Altieri, I think, had a poster of it in the background on a stream, so it might be one of his too. Oh lordy, there are probably characters in fiction who deserve the unseasoned quinoa comparison, but I don't know if Penguin's among them. Fair play, I'm glad that a Mike Reed reference can be comfortably incorporated into a B-Test podcast. That's a trait a lot of DCAU podcasts lack. I've said the same thing hundreds of times before. To be fair, I think I've got a fairly unique concoction of interests, just due to my upbringing. In fact, even most people my age didn't really care for Mike Reed, but they were wrong.
Should we get merch that says unseasoned quinoa? And that could be like my new thing.
Yeah, if someone could do a little doodle of Mike Reed as well, we could do a little t-shirt like that. Perhaps Mike Reed is the Penguin.
Oh my god, how
What
awesome
do you take me for? Some kind of donut, Batman?
That would have been amazing.
That would have been. I mean, it was a bit like Nolan North's Penguin in the Arkham games, but he was kind of short and stubby. Now imagine Mike Reed voice acting as that Penguin. Oh, what could have been if only he hadn't died. Yeah. So last comment, we have Time Lord Victorious. Not much to say about the Penguin other than, like Tim Burton's take on the character, making him a twisted and dark version of the often comic villain. Feel maybe the cartoon series would be better, perhaps, following that. Also, giving him the same backstory of him being an abandoned child of a rich family would have been good, and why he wants to return to being uber rich. Yeah, I think it's something you can infer, isn't it? The connection with the Tim Burton origin, but they never expressly state it. Right, okay, that's it. That's all the comments. My voice is still intact for now.
Yeah, for now.
All that's left to do now is to talk about what we're talking about next time, and I've completely forgotten.
We are going to talk about stuff
and things.
Yeah. So you picked it last time.
Yeah.
Although I did love it. I think I want to pick it this time. And when I looked up, I saw your George print.
George Kaltsudas print.
Yes, Kaltsudas print. I love him, by the way. and it's the mudslide print. So why don't we talk about mudslide?
Okay.
The next totally Schway.
Sorry, I just took a sip of water because my voice is raw, and it went down the wrong pipe, kind of, and I feel a bit weird.
So we started this episode with Gilly in the window. He left like 5 minutes in after I talked about his butt, and then he came back about 5 minutes ago, and he's just dead to the world, asleep.
Yeah, that's the important cat update. So we've got the chicken update out of the way. We've got the cat update out of the way. Mary's watch has gone off twice now.
Yeah.
So next time, oh good God, next time we're going to talk about Mudslide, and I want to talk about the movie references in there because it's a big love letter to classic
I'm going to have
Hollywood.
to rewatch it.
Oh, you can go Stella.
Stop. That's what my tattoo.
Yes.
My tattoo.
So good excuse to watch Streetcar Named Desire as well.
All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to plug my channel again. It's Mary Susan Mears. You can watch the Totally Schway Flip Side podcast over there, and you can also watch a couple of video essays that I've done about different superheroes.
You recently surpassed 1,000 subscribers
I
as
know.
well, didn't you?
It's really awesome, and I am eternally grateful, and I cannot put into words other than like I'm so grateful how grateful I am. So thank you guys so much.
Very grateful.
You make me feel important enough to be my friend, and you guys are important enough to be my friend. So I'm going to end that on that note. So thank you so much.
Cool, we're done. Bye.